Good morning. We're here at EV Detroit getting started on the car. Starting to lay out some parts. Allow you to get a look at things now outside the box. Front right just came out of the car. We're starting to put things together. Got her up on the lift.
So here is front assembly ready to go in. So basically what you're doing is you remove the entire unit. You're taking this apart, which is just the 3 screws here. That drops out. That allows this whole thing to drop out. This is the old parts, old spring, old shock, old bump stop. The only thing carryover on this is the top hat. So you remove this after you compress the spring. This gets carried over to here, and then when this gets reassembled, and your fittings, this goes into here, and then you have your adjustment knob here, and that's essentially what you have here. So you have your adjustment here. This will get a preset, so there's a defined measurement that you kind of set this up. It gets you back near stock height, and then from there it's minimal adjustment. If you just installed it the way it is, chances are you're going to be really, really low. So you want to definitely follow the instructions, which are really, really nice from Unplugged Performance. And see up here, you have your installed knob. So you just have to be really careful reinstalling this. And then as you go into the engine, under the front, you have the 4 bolts here. Retain this, and then you start reassembling just how you unassembled it. So this is the front is reassembled. Here's the new parts here, your spring. Here's your adjustability here. So by loosening this lock nut here, it allows this collar here, which is threaded. You got about this much adjustment here to move the suspension up and down. Now with the Model Y, you got about 1 inch up and 1 inch down from the factory height. We're going to start with 1 inch down. The springs will settle over time. And so we'll do our alignment 1/2 inch lower, and then we can always raise this up as the spring compresses. But this is fully reassembled, sway bars connected, all of your lines reconnected, and everything torqued. Hey, so real quick, on the rear, what we did was there's a strut here, that gets pulled out. There's a spring compressor that we put in here. We compress the spring before we pull the bolts out for here. Once the spring's compressed, this can safely drop. The spring can come out. Before we do that though, we're removing these panels. This is off the bottom of the control arm here, just a little cover plate that gets dropped off, and then we take this out. That just gives us more room to get our hands up in here. So just the bottom cover. And then over here to the right, these are the old springs. So there's different styles of spring compressors. You can always hire a shop to do it as well. It's probably the safest way to do it. So these are the old parts, these are the old shocks, these are the new parts here. So this assembly here looks like this, inverted. That's what replaces this, and then this replaces this. The carryover parts again are the top hats. So this gets removed off the old ones, gets installed on the new ones, and everything's ready to reassemble.
Well, it's now been 3 days and about 300 miles since I had the Unplugged Performance luxury coilover suspension installed on this Model Y. Wanted to just give you some driving impressions and let you know what things look like today after the suspension's had a little bit of time to settle. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is the drop. The plan was to go with about a 1/2 inch drop on the new suspension, and after settling, we are at about 1 inch all the way around. And you can see, you know, it actually looks really good. I like it. I thought 1/2 inch is where I wanted it, but it was a 1/2 inch when we left. So just know you're going to get about another 1/2 inch of settling all the way around as you drive, probably over the course of the first week. But it looks really good. You can see how close the Tesla mud flaps are to the ground. They are about an inch off the ground now. And so they do rub a little bit more going over curbs and things, but you know what that is. You know it's your mud flaps. I'm not worried about it. In fact, I like the look. So the drop ended up being 1 inch. Just like I said, we set it a ½ inch lower. It settled another ½ inch over about the first 300 miles in 3 days. So that I mean, I think it looks fabulous. So really happy with that. Let's talk about ride quality next. So as you know, I think this has 32 different individual settings, both front and rear. Up in the rear, the adjustment knob is right back there. You can see it there. It's in the middle there, and you just spin that around to make your adjustment. One challenge when you drop the car is that I can't actually get my arm in there to reach that knob when the car's sitting on the ground. So I do need to just throw the puck on and jack it up about 2 inches so I can get my arm in there to make adjustments, but probably not something you're gonna be doing every single day. I'm not really adjusting on the fly. I'm gonna try to find what I like and then make it work. Up in the front, the adjustment knobs are much easier to reach. In fact, they're just right under the cover here. So you pop this up and the knob is sitting right on top of the shock mount, and you just twist that dial and you're good to go. So when I left EV Detroit, I was at 50%. The settings were set right in the middle of the adjustment range. And I still thought, you know, for the driving that I was doing, again, I drive a really rough stretch of highway, lots of expansion cracks, lots of potholes, lots of uneven concrete that just really shakes you up. So I stopped and I made some adjustments. And so I decided I wanted to find out what it was like on full soft. So right now the car is set full soft all the way around, and did the same drive about 150 miles. And I found the ride to be much more enjoyable, especially, you know, long highway cruising. That's what works for me. I'm keeping it on full soft for most of my driving. I'll take the nicest ride I can get. And then if I do need to show off and dial it down and tighten the thing up, I know that I have that option, and it's great. It's great to be able to make adjustments. And, you know, I may, you know, do a notch here, a notch there, and dial it a little bit firmer as I get used to the car and as I drive it more, as it settles more. We'll see how it goes. But I can tell you, even with a 1 inch drop all the way around, full soft, much, much better ride than where it was on the stock suspension. So that's great news. One other bit is about efficiency. So I'm an inch lower now than we were before. Science says that means the vehicle should be more efficient going down the highway than it was before. I can tell you, I did have a really efficient run in my second 150 miles from one side of Michigan to the other side of Michigan. And I'm interested to play with that more and just see how I do. You're never gonna get that perfect apples to apples comparison, but I'm gonna be looking at averages over time. But you know, you don't need to prove it out. The science is there. You know that if you drop the car, you're gonna get better efficiency and airflow around the vehicle. So there's that added benefit of a little drop there as well. Finally, let's talk about alignment. So there's a couple things, you know, EV Detroit was super helpful in talking about, you know, what are the things that you need to be thinking about as you're going this direction, and specifically as you're thinking about lowering the car with one of these suspension packages. And the first is alignment. So most of you probably know there isn't a whole lot of adjustability built in. Specifically, you know, the upper control arms here on the front are not adjustable. In the back, there's very little camber adjustment. And so one, you know, interesting thing is, you know, the camber you can see the back wheels tipped in, you know, a bit, more than I'd like it to be. And the front, not as much, but definitely you can see quite a bit of negative camber in the back. And so I need to get that fixed, otherwise uneven tire wear is going to be a thing in my future. So I'm, you know, the guys at EV Detroit, you know, they will say, you know, at Unplugged Performance, there are a couple other products you might want to consider if you're going to lower the car and go with a suspension setup like this. And the first is the billet adjustable rear camber arm set. And that is a $399 set of adjustable camber arms, because the camber here in this car, minimal adjustment just from the bolts that actually attach the camber arm to where it belongs. And if we can't get enough adjustment out of those, the billet adjustable rear camber arms from Unplugged Performance are going to be the solution. The second thing is the adjustable upper control arm. So again, Unplugged Performance makes an adjustable upper control arm for a reason, and it is because the ones on the Tesla are not adjustable. That is a little bit more pricey. So that's $1,595 for those adjustable upper control arms. Only $400 for the rear camber arm set. I'm hoping that I don't have to do that. So I have scheduled an alignment with the Tesla Service Center in Clarkston, and I'm gonna see how much adjustment they can get out of the front and back and see how close to spec we can get. And then I will let you know where we go from here. But bottom line, I love the suspension. I love the ride quality. I like the height. The experience at EV Detroit was fantastic. And I'm hoping that I don't have to spend more money on suspension products now that I got it where I want it. But the alignment is something I do need to still address. So more to come on that, but thought I'd share this with you, and hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully if you're thinking about a product like this has helped. You should know that if you don't want to drop the height of the car, that you probably don't need to worry about these extra products, and you don't need to worry as much about your alignment because there isn't a lot of adjustability here. And again, the guys are really careful not to screw things up as they're putting the new suspension on. So hope you enjoyed. Have a great day. Keep driving those cars. They're certainly fun.